about you. Just, doing the introductions a little bit of time. And also, because this is sort of, related, I guess, we have in the field Gage, which is trying to get us a feed as well from his car. We'll try to see if we can, put it in the, there we go. That's the feed that I was talking about. And it's a struggle because, it's in the field, it's a moving car and everything, so the signal can do. So shout out to both of them, both Gage for being in the field and trying to get us this feed. Because it's cool. Like this is what you will see if you were there on your car and trying to, be essentially stuck in the road behind the booster. Right? And then at the same time, Jay trying to jiggle, some of the waves, if you will, to try to bring us all of this to you guys for watching this live. But in any case, we already have questions in chat because I said the whole thing about, at NASA Spaceflight or at NSF. So I already have picked up a few questions that we can maybe answer as we see here Booster 15 roll out to the pad. So what do you say, Ryan? Shall we go?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's go. So I think there's one interesting, which I really think it's very appropriate from high reactivity. They're asking, could you guys discuss in detail about the booster landing sequence for Flight 11, please? And I think that's very appropriate for what we're seeing and also what we're about to see, hopefully in a few days, which is that weird landing sequence. Ryan, can you tell us a little bit what's sort of the plan there and why is it even important? Like, why are they doing that?
Yeah, basically, well, the first part of the landing is going to be the same, basically. So they'll glide back down after the boost back burn. They'll do their 13 engine startup, but instead of down selecting to 3, they're going to down select to 5. I think I gotta remember my engine numbers, but I think it's 7 and 11. My guess is what they're going to use. Because basically on Block 3 of Booster, with the way the engines are laid out are slightly different than the current one. So basically they'll activate the 3 centers and then they'll activate 2 that are on the inner ring of 10. So basically it'll be 1 that's a little bit off-centered and 4 that are more or less in a straight line. Kind of like the 131, but it won't be though, because it'll be like a 5-3 or maybe a 5-3-2 is what it might end up being when later down the line for Block 3 of Booster. But basically they're going to activate engines in a line, kind of like Falcon 9. My guess is this is definitely for more control during the landing burn, but it's also for better engine out capability. So basically, if they activate 5 on the landing burn and 1 or 2 of them doesn't start, they still have 3 or 4, or heck, even 2 to slow the booster down. And remember, they're using Raptor 3 now, which means they got more thrust. So even with 2 engines, your control's going to be a little iffy when it comes to actually controlling the booster in the right orientation, but you're going to have enough thrust to slow down. That's basically what they're trying to do. They're trying to test that for the next booster.
Yeah, so this is sort of one of the key things here, because it's not just the booster that is doing something that we'll see on future versions of Starship, right? Because also the ship, if I'm not mistaken, it's also doing this sort of thing that SpaceX calls dynamical banking or something like that, right? Where they're saying that this is the kind of maneuvers that they're going to be doing, that the ship is going to be doing once it returns back to Starbase for a catch. So I feel like, I don't know what you think, but I feel like Flight 11 is going to give us a glimpse into what we're going to see with Block 3, version 3, whatever, word you want to use for that, the next generation of Starship vehicles. And I think that's really cool.
Mary in posa dal parrucchiere. Ti basta un selfie con gli amici. Ti basta Batista, il tuo shampoo secco. E in 3 minuti fai tutto quello che ti passa per la testa.
In chat, Nick was saying, do we have an approximate launch date yet? And I think that's also an important question to deal here, because suddenly we were covering a few weeks ago the Ship 38 static fire. We didn't know when it was going to be, blah, blah, right? But now we do. Now we actually have a launch date, not just from notices or anything. SpaceX has confirmed that, in fact, we are tracking October 13th at 6:15 p.m. Central Time. Looks to be about 75 minutes long until 7:30 p.m. Central Time. So it's gonna be just what, like 5 days from now, a bit over 5 days. So yeah, it's really gonna be
Monday.
It's right around the corner essentially. We have also some support here already in our software and whatnot. So I'm gonna hit some of that as well because we have a $50 tip from Nicole, and they were talking about the UK meetup video and everything. Thank you for sharing the UK meetup videos. It was great to finally see what Chris looks like. Look, this is one of those things that we put out to members because we thought it was worth it, right? We have that meetup in the UK this last weekend, and you guys are essentially the way that we are able to do any of this, like all of these cameras, all of these feeds, all of the data that is being used for this as well. We can do that because of your support. So, it was not just a meetup with like less than 200 people, but also we tried to give that feed to you guys, members, all levels. You'll be able to see that.
You get to see Chris with his hair and makeup done and everything, looking all nice for people. Yeah. So.
But yeah.
It's the joke he likes to always make.
And of course, we also have a bunch of, we have two members. So we have Steve Lanond. I'm really sorry if I butchered your name. Becoming a Red Team member. We've got Nick, which I got one of their questions before. Becoming a PadRat member. And they also gifted 5 Red Team memberships. So thank you for that support. Again, it's what allows us to do what we do. And on that same note, Ryan, we're seeing now here that booster has either it slowed down or it stopped. What do you think is happening there?
It looks like I think it's still going, at least from what I can tell. I don't think it's stopped or anything. It's just the angle that it is. It just looks a little weird, but it's still going along just fine.
Might be the parallax.
Yeah, it's the camera angle and everything else. Sometimes, especially something this big, without a reference point near it, it might look like it's sitting still. But they're actually going pretty quickly here. They've already gone around that bend and they're passing LBJ, so they're making good time at the launch site.
Yep. Now we can see some of those Cybertrucks coming close here. I really wonder what they did. I've seen some pictures. They seem to have brought those also to other facilities at SpaceX. So I guess they just did a bulk buy or something. They hit the... Have you seen that?
Oh. Oops.
Okay, well... Let's see. We just got from Astro 95 Media. He says, Ryan and Alex, when will you gents be joining us for a launch? Keep up the great coverage. We're grateful. Look, that's super great. I would love to go. The problem is sometimes I'm more needed here in studio than in the field, right? I would not be able, this is, for example, our camera CP11 out there. We have our team out there in the field, Gage, Jerry, Cesar, and soon maybe Jack as well, going, out there and cleaning the camera and changing batteries. And I don't know how to do all that. I don't understand about cameras. I don't understand about, any of that. I would probably be a hassle more than, than anything else. So that's why I don't really travel to start with. I want to, but I'll do once things are more advanced, if you will. And a little stop there. Letting the SPMTs rest, I'm guessing.
Maybe. Something.
But there we can see, they're stopped, and let's go again.
Yeah. Look at that.
Maybe. Just to, breathe a little bit, let the SPMTs rest. But now we'll be able to see that close-up of the booster as it comes by our highway lot. It's already here, it's only been 20 minutes, and it's already more than a third of the way out?
They've been able to do these in about 40-45 minutes with boosters if they're quick enough. Without any little stops or anything. They've been able to do them in less than an hour. And for the next generation of booster, this won't change at all. It'll be the same counterweight setup. It'll be the same transport stand, except for the stabilizers pins you see on the transport stand there that are on the top deck. Those will go away for Block 3 because they designed a whole clamp system for a. Ooh, that's a nice view. They designed a whole clamp system to help center it better, so they actually don't need the stabilizer pins anymore. So the stand will stay the same. It's just some things on it will get changed when we move to the new booster design.
Yeah, I'm trying to reach out to our back channel and see if we can have that SPMT audio. Oh yeah. Let's try and listen in for a little bit. That's really cool. Look at that. And you have humans for scale there, which is always impressive. I feel like a lot of times, because we see these boosters and ships and whatnot through cameras, right? And because it's like very far away from the cameras and whatnot, or it's next to even bigger things like the towers there in the background, right? It feels like they're smaller than they are actually, right? And so when you've got those people next to it, I mean, the SPMTs are as tall as a human, right? And now you got the stand itself, and then you've got the booster with a hot staging ring as well up top and all that. It's really impressive.
Six are up and in position waiting for the booster for one last time.
Indeed. More Cybertrucks waiting there.
They're doing this during the day with drones. They had a windy lift up as they were rounding the corner onto Remedios coming out of the rocket garden. They're doing a photo op for the last for this last rollout of this booster design.
Gauge cam.
Yeah, gauge cam.
I've been told that this is nicknamed the Gauge Mobile because it's his car. But
Gauge Mobile.
Yeah.
Copy.
Yeah. But anyways, we still have more questions here, so I'm gonna try and bring them in as usual. I feel like, we got here from Mr. Rocketman. They're asking, do we know how many Starship flights are planned for 2026? I feel like that's also somewhat connected to this flight, because this is most likely going to be the last one of 2025. Let's face it, right? Because it's very hard to see. The pad might be ready, perhaps, but the boosters and ships and whatnot for the first flight of Block 3 will definitely not be ready this year. So, how many flights do you think they're going to be launching, right, in 2026?
There's so many things that depends on. Depends on when the first Block 3 goes, and it also depends on how well it goes. Because if they have issues with it right off the bat, I don't know if they'll probably stick with the same mentality that they did with Block 2, which is push, push, push. But if they were to run into an issue with the booster or something, like during ascent or during initial takeoff or something along those lines, that might cause issues or something like that. But let's assume that, for the sake of this question, let's assume that the first flight of Block 3 goes well. It starts off on a high note, basically it goes perfect. And it's somewhere in the realm of March, April is where I've been thinking. I mean, I could, considering the amount of backlog they have for vehicles, if they don't run into many issues, I mean, I could see hopefully 8 flights next year. If the pad refurb should be much quicker this time around. If they can build these vehicles quicker, and not only that, they're going to start reusing boosters more. So I would expect Block 3 boosters to start getting reused, B19 and up, or at least B20 and up, depending on which one is caught, which one they're comfortable starting to reuse again. And then ships becomes the big question. When they do catch a ship, I don't think ship's going to be ready to be reused right away. I think it'll take like 2 or 3 catches and some modifications to the ship, and then they'll start reusing them, is what my thinking. There's a chance we get a reused ship by the end of the year, but I'm not going to push that one. But I think we could get 8.
I'm seeing already quite a heated debate here because they say, let's be real. And some people are trying to challenge me about that. We'll see. I mean, I would love to be proven wrong. I mean, if we see a Block 3 launch this year, look, as impossible it might seem for me, I'm not going to be like, oh my gosh, I've been so owned. We get to see another Starship launch this year. Right? Come on. I'd be glad if we had more, right?
If
more better.
The quicker they launch that, I'll be happy. We get to see the first launch of that, plus out of that pad and everything. Are they going to launch Block 3 this year? No, not a chance. It's not ready. None of the systems are ready. But I can't wait for it to launch. It's not. I know a lot of people are like, you just don't want to launch. I would love it to launch, but I'm just looking at it based off timelines and where everything is.
And on that same note, my answer to this question was going to be, I have 2 answers as usual, right? One is my hopes. I hope we can see like a dozen of Starship launches next year, and at least 2 of them are from 39A. Like, I would love to see at least 2 launches, like maybe have a launch in the summer time frame or something like that, and then another one in the fall time frame, for example, so that they can have enough time to, ship another booster, another ship, and whatever from Starbase and all that. Like, I would love for it to be a dozen or so, because I feel like that's sort of the sweet spot because they're about to do 5 launches this year, right? Dozen, it will be like a little bit over 2 times the amount of launches that we will have, and it feels like it's right there where, with a dozen of these, there's a guarantee that at least 2 of them will be part of that, cryogenic in-space refilling test, right? That will be an interesting thing to see next year. Hopefully we do get it finally. Reality, my gut says that it's probably going to be 7 or 8, or even less than that. But we'll see. I really, really want it to be more than this year, though. But with a new block, it's always, a challenge, as we've seen this year. Because they debuted Block 2, and well, they had, plans for 25 launches at some point. And unfortunately, 20 of those got missing on the way. They only got 5, but such is the spaceflight, and that's how it is. Anyways, let's continue, because we can see here already it's sort of like getting to the pad, but it's still not fully there. So we can continue with some of the questions as always. Tag at NASA Spaceflight in chat or at NSF as well. Now we have that option as well. And there's one question here from somebody, which I know them already, person. Starry Sam is asking, when do you think they will do a static fire directly after lowering the booster back onto pad 2 after catch? So this is like, obviously, the kind of question that I would expect from Starry Sam, right? Right? So this is like, obviously, the kind of question that I would expect from Starry Sam, right? Where it's like, a super technical question that we really can only guess, right? But I would love to find